Thought I'd sit down and after a long time of thinking about it, do a video of why I left Canada. I've had a great run in Canada for the last 14, 15 years, and prior to that, to be honest. But things change, of course, that's the only constant. For the past 14 or 15 years in Canada, I've been so lucky. Lived in a small town on the East Coast, and it was the town that I grew up in. I had a great life there. I had an amazing apartment, a nice two-bedroom apartment in a triplex that was in an older home, and the rent was minimal. Along with that, I also had access to a huge outbuilding for storage. And I had a lawn care business. I was self-employed, solo operator, but I was very, very busy. I grew that business to 70 or 80 clients. Basic lawn care, gardening, various tasks, property maintenance kind of things. I was not a landscaper. On top of that, I also do have a Bachelor of Education degree. So during the winter months and even into the spring and fall, I would also substitute teach. Gosh, a person could substitute teach pretty much every day if they wanted to. I chose 2 or 3 schools that I really, really enjoyed going to. That was my life. Work 60 to 70 hours a week in the spring, summer, and fall, and then do some substitute teaching along with that. It was busy. I also could, in the winter, in January and February, go away for a couple of months and do some backpacking. I went to Nicaragua, Guatemala, Colombia twice, and this year I had made the decision to go to Southeast Asia for the very first time. Thailand, of course. I'm now in Vietnam. And this was due to the fact that some friends that I had met during some travels in 2020 when I was in Guatemala, I met a couple of guys really that are now my best friends from England. This is what happens. I was lucky enough. I've been so lucky to meet those guys, and we've stayed in touch, and we've traveled now, met up the last couple of winters to be able to travel together for a few months. And we did that again this year. We were together in Thailand for basically the month of January into February. And then they went off to Japan, and I continued on to Vietnam. So I'm solo, and that's great. I love it that way. Back to Canada. So I had a great life, busy as hell. I made money. I tried to live a frugal, minimalistic type of lifestyle, save some money as best as I could. Of course, as we know, the cost of living all over the place is now out of control, in my opinion. I don't know how people are making a go of it. If you have kids and you have a house and you're trying to have vehicles and pay for groceries and all the things that come along with life. And I certainly felt some of that. My kids are grown up and gone. So I was very lucky that way, I guess, in that sense. But things were still expensive. October 2024, the phone call. And it was the property manager, someone that I knew, and the conversation went along the lines of, the building is now for sale. Don't worry about it. It's got a really high price on it. It's not going to sell. Things will be fine. You're good. Okay, great. Oh, I had just made my plans to travel to Southeast Asia the day before that phone call came. All right, not a big deal. A few weeks go by. There were a couple of showings of the property, but nothing really major. And then another phone call. Again, the property manager. Yeah, there's an offer. Okay, cool. And a condition of the sale would be that you have to get out. Uh, say what now? Yeah. So if the offer is accepted, a condition of the sale is that they want the property vacant. Okay. What does that mean? Well, that would mean that by December 31st, you would have to move. Wow. That's a lot to take in. It's October, late October, maybe even early November when that happened. And yeah, I was thinking about going away on a trip, and now I've got to think about this. Okay, cool. So I start looking at other places to live, other apartments in my general geographic area, and it is slim pickings. Not a lot to choose from, and the prices are very, very high. Small town Nova Scotia, Canada, and you're looking at $2,000 and up for something reasonable that you might want to stay in, plus utilities, of course. And I had been paying so much less than that. I realized that I was so lucky over the last 15 years, really, of staying there and was able to pay minimal rent and have a great place to stay. Yeah, so that was coming to an end, it looked like. Yeah, so renting wasn't much of an option, I didn't think. I looked at renting a room in someone else's place. People are doing that. They're renting rooms out to help themselves with expenses. Rooms in someone else's house now are $1,000 and up. And at this age, I'm 54. Do I want to go back to that, living under someone else's roof in a shared situation? Not really. Okay, I'm an outside the box kind of thinker. Maybe I could buy an RV and park it somewhere and live in that and continue on with my life. Travel in the wintertime, do my lawn care in the spring, summer, fall, do some substitute teaching. RVs, of course, as we know, are expensive. Anything decent. I'm not the kind of person that's going to buy something used and try and fix it up. I don't have those skills. Then you've got to park it somewhere. You've got to deal with having water and access to power. It wasn't doable for me. I had always been wanting to move to other countries. I knew that life in Canada was becoming unsustainable. I knew that retirement for me in Canada was going to be not much of an option. So opportunity was knocking. And when opportunity knocks, they say you're supposed to open the door. Here was that opportunity. You've got your trip booked. Why not just leave? It seems a little crazy to make that decision, I know, but screw it. What's the worst that's going to happen? You try it, it works or it doesn't. You can always go back and somehow figure things out. But so far, I'm 5 months into this, maybe only 4.5 actually. And I know it's early days, it's the honeymoon phase, but things are just fantastic. Thailand was great, 2 months there, was a great introduction to Southeast Asia. Thailand is set up for tourism, of course. Travel is easy. I didn't do much traveling around. I stayed in Bangkok for 5 or 6 nights with my friends, and then we went to the north to a city called Chiang Mai, which is great, easy, lots to see, lots to do, cheap, and just basically stayed there pretty much. I did a little bit of traveling around from that location, but just went back to Chiang Mai. I'm staying in hostels. It's so cheap to do that. Sometimes they have a kitchen, not too often in this part of the world, but a few places did. Breakfast might be included. Food is incredible. Yeah. So the time came to make a decision. I don't have $1 million saved. I don't have $500,000 saved. I don't have anywhere close to that. I've got savings, I've got some investments. In a few months' time, I'm eligible for a minuscule, laughable little bit of a teacher's pension from some years of service. But you know what? I'm fine. It'll all work out. I'm a frugal person. I can live very, very cheaply. The time came to leave Canada, and it happened. The opportunity presented itself. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about just saying, to heck with this, things are just too expensive. Maybe there's a little bit of a different way. Better? I don't know if it's better, it's just different. If I can do this, I can't help but think that you could do it too if you kind of wanted to. It's scary, it's challenging, it's a huge decision, but it's just a decision. You make that choice and you roll with it. Am I crazy? Have I made a mistake? I don't think I have. Not yet. Tomorrow, my visa is done for Vietnam in a few days, and I could have gone to another country next door, Cambodia, and stayed there for a couple of weeks, gotten a new visa to re-enter Vietnam. But I decided, you know what? I'm traveling. Let's go somewhere else. Let's try a different region altogether. See what that's like. So tomorrow I'm getting on a plane and I'm going just for 5 nights. I'm going to the iconic, historic city of Istanbul, Turkey. Again, only 5 nights there. That's a bit of a stopover because then I'm moving on to the country of Georgia. One of my mates that I mentioned earlier from England, who I met a few years ago, and we've traveled and stayed in touch, one of my best friends now, has been to Georgia at least 2 times, maybe 3, I'm not sure, and loves it there. And I'm looking forward to that. Very different from this part of the world. It's going to be an adventure. This is it. I'm moving around, figuring things out as I go. What's the worst that can happen? Let me know in the comments what you think about all of it. Oh, and by the way, it would be awesome if you make it this far to the video and you see all this. Maybe you could like it and subscribe. I would love to have subscribers to the channel. Let me know what you think. Thanks. See you on the next one.